Hello again. This afternoon here seems to be a little bit of a time to go back and revisit some open bottles. We just did a little bit of a commentary on the Côte Rôtie by Rostand, but that was in French. Apologize to the English speakers. This is a bottle of Cabernet from Relic that I opened, I'm not sure I remember, maybe 5 days ago. I had a few glasses over a couple of days and I put it in the fridge. Just wanted to see how it could sort of rest up and evolve because I wasn't quite sure I was getting everything, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So this is a 2010 Artefact. Back in the times where they probably had, I think, only two Cabernets, Artefact and Napa Valley. Artefact at the time was from a Corona vineyard. I think that was in the just in Oakville, and very small, very, Mike calls it like a moonscape type of place. Lots of rocks, nothing else growing, so very intense vines because they have to do all the work, and we see how that relates to what we have in the glass. Before that. Mike used to put a little bit of Syrah in these Artifacts when they started in 05 or 06 or 7 or 8 and maybe 09 even, because that was sort of his way of kind of acknowledging some of the really old traditions in Bordeaux where they would add Syrah to the Cabernet Sauvignon, but that has long since changed. This one is more of a typical, maybe Bordeaux would like 75-76% Cabernet Sauvignon, big chunk of Cabernet Franc, and a few points, maybe 7 or 8 of Malbec. So another type of Bordeaux blend. But again, the Cabernet Sauvignon is really the dominant factor here. Here we are. Look at this color, really, really dark. What we've kind of come to expect from the Relic Cabernets that tend to be very fruity and very, very intense. Now I'm getting the full panoply of flavors that I sort of expected a few days ago. So you've got the alcohol, you've got the blue and the black fruits. This is 15.3% alcohol. You've got the sort of a little bit of that kind of sweetness, kind of almost the blueberry is almost like blueberry jam. There's a little bit of savories, maybe sage, some sort of kind of herb that is not super strong, but a little bit, of a different register. On the palate, it's just intense. And this is a 14-year-old wine. And again, I'm relieved, and it sort of makes you wonder about sometimes when we taste the wine right after we open it. Well, some people taste the wine that's too young. Maybe some of the critics tasted this in 2011, 2012, and it was a good wine, but I don't think you can necessarily predict what's going to happen. Maybe they can. But this, over the last 4 or 5 days, I was a bit worried about it at first because I thought it was just had a little bit of bitterness, wasn't really as open, and I wasn't sure whether I sort of missed some window. But here, it's just really just beautiful. It's really hitting on all cylinders. The tannins are very, very fine and but they have this sort of almost talc powder feel on the palate. So you kind of feel them right away, like a bit of a pause, and then they kind of all dissolve in everything. So it's a very interesting sort of step in the process. Very, very, very long finish. And yeah, it's still going there, and you're kind of still thinking about all the different layers. Sort of what the classic sort of, again, fruit, the blue and black, the tannins that are there, and very sensed, very perceptible, but just incredibly interesting at the same time. The finish that goes on and on and on, nice acidity. These Artifacts wines are always just terrific, and and I don't think I've been disappointed in. Now, of course, these are great wines, so why be disappointed? But year in, year out, going back to the beginning, the sort of '06, '07, '08, they've been just terrific. And this is the old label. As you know, some of the new labels have sort of started showing up, I think in 2012, I'm not sure, but I'm running out of my old labels. This may be the last one. I may have another 2008 or 9, but I think it's sort of, this is something that I feel a little bit nostalgic about. The new labels are very nice too, but they're a little more modern. This really goes with the name, and if you guys follow the property, you know what I mean. Anyway, cheers. A beautiful Cabernet, great contrast to the Côte Rôtie, much more powerful, much more rich. Of course, it's a bit younger, but again, it's totally different. And this is where you realize you can actually love a lot of different wines, even without having to compare them to each other. Cheers, and see you soon.